basically I'm just waiting for the recording to turn on. As soon as it turns on, I will start with the lecture. Okay. So like I told you, we are today studying an application of stack. Okay. So we are going to learn how to evaluate a postfix expression using stacks. For that, you have written down the algorithm. I'll just go through the steps of the algorithm quickly. In step 1, we are basically having an empty stack, so we are going to initialize the top of the stack. Okay. So since if you are going to do the stacks using arrays program, then the top of the stack will be initialized to -1. Okay, and that is happens in the first step. In the second step, we read our postfix expression. Okay, the input for this program will be a postfix expression. So we start reading that postfix expression. That postfix expression will be stored in an array. Okay, and each array index will be referred to, each input in that expression will be referred to as a token. So that is what is the meaning of token here. So it will be nothing but a number, or it will be a operator. So in step 2a, we read the next token. So we start scanning the expression in the array from left to right. Okay, we read the input from left to right. Step 2b is pretty simple. We check if the token is a number. Okay, if it is a number, we will push it onto the stack. Once we push it onto the stack, we don't go to step C, but we go back to step 2. We check if there are more input remaining. If there is more input remaining, then we read the next token. If it is a number, push it onto the stack. Otherwise, else, if what we have just taken as input is an operator, when we pop the top two values from the stack, we apply the operator. So when we say apply, suppose the operator is a plus, then we apply the addition, we do the addition. After addition, whatever sum you get, you push that answer onto the stack. Okay, so that is the meaning here. Pop the two tokens, apply the operator. So whatever operator you had got, apply it to the two values from the stack. Then you will get some answer. That answer has to be pushed back to the stack. Then you go back to step 2. So you keep doing this till you reach the end of the expression. Finally, when you reach the end of the expression, you will go to step 3. That time only the answer will remain on the stack, so you are going to pop the answer and print it. Okay, so we will see this with the help of an example. So basically, this is that same algorithm in a kind of a flowchart. So in step 1, we initialize the stack. In step 2a, we scan the input from left to right. You can look at the steps in your notebook as you are looking at this flowchart. Okay, it is the same thing. It's just to help you understand what the process that we are going through. You can also draw this flowchart onto your books. When you're drawing the flowchart here, this box here is come little wrong. It should have been a decision box. Okay, it's come this box here, more input. This box should have been a decision box. So this box is just correct it in your books when you're drawing. quickly draw it, don't use rulers and all, just a rough drawing. Okay, so I'll continue. Basically, I'll continue. So this is what you have been drawing. Okay. So initially, I making an empty stack. The top of the stack equal to -1. Then in step 2a, you scan the input from left to right. Okay. Whatever scanned input, suppose it's a number. Then in step 2b, you push it onto the stack. Suppose it's an operator, then you would come here, perform the operation, push the answer on the stack. Then you go and check if there's more input. If there is more input, then you go back to step here to scan the input. If there is no more input, then you would pop the answer from the stack and print it. Okay. So now, what you need for this algorithm to work properly is you need a valid postfix expression. Okay. So if you enter a wrong postfix expression, then you will get a wrong answer. So when you are doing this program later, to make sure that you will enter a correct postfix expression. Okay. So you can just take down this question. Evaluate the following postfix expression. Evaluate the following postfix expression. Copy the expression 5, 6, 2 plus multiply 2, 4 plus minus using stacks. Using stacks. So I'll show you how to solve this. Okay. As I'm solving it, you can also simultaneously do it in your books. So basically, in the beginning, you are going to have one postfix expression in this form. Okay. And this postfix expression is going to be stored in an array. It will be something like this. It's going to be there in an array. Okay. And you're going to scan this expression starting from left to right. So this is your index 0 and index 1 and so on. So you're going to start from index 0. So you're going to start from 5. So in order to evaluate your postfix expression, you need also one stack. Initially your stack will be empty. Okay. And you can also show, if you want, you can show your top of the stack pointer equal to -1. This variable will be initially equal to -1. Okay. That will be your initial for your stack. stack will be empty and top of the stack will be equal to -1. That will be a step 1. Then I start reading my expression. You can see in the algorithm that I have written in the book. So step 2 says, while token remain in the input stream, then in 2a, read the next token. So when I say read the next token, means I read this. Okay, I read the number 5. So that is step 2a. Then go to step 2b. Okay, please refer to the algorithm that I have written in your books. Step 2b says, if it is a number, push it onto the stack. Push it onto the stack. So this 5 now is obviously a number. So what you do? You push 5 according to this onto the stack. So this, don't look at this portion right now. So you just look here. So 5 is pushed onto the stack. Okay, and your top of the stack value right now will be here. This will be your top of the stack. Okay, we have already seen how push works. I've shown you the program, so I'm not explaining you that. You know that top of the stack is incremented, then this value is inserted there. So exactly the same way that push works here. Okay, so that is your actually step 2. Okay, then so if you read your step 2b, if token is a number, push it onto the stack and go back to step 2. So when you push it onto the stack, you have to go back to the step 2. So when you go to step 2, again you will read the next token. So now what you read? You will read 6. You're going to read 6. So again in step 2b, you find out that whether it's a number or an operator. So if it's a number, you will push it onto the stack. Now what you will do? Since 6 is an number, you will increment the top of the stack. You will increment the top of the stack and push 6 onto the stack. So that is your step 3. Okay, so you are pushing 6 onto the stack. So now your top of the stack is here. After you do this, go back to step 2. Read the next token. So when you read the next token, what do you read? You read this 2. Again check whether 2 is a number or an operator. So since you know it's a number, you are going to perform step 2b. So step 2b says push the number onto the stack. Then you push the number onto the stack. 2 is also pushed onto the stack. Now your top of the stack is looking like this. So you have pushed now 2 on the stack. Okay, so now you have performed step 4. So basically what I am doing here is I have done 3 steps in one diagram. So basically I have done step 2, 3 and 4 in one diagram. If you do it separately, then in step 2 you would have done like this. Only 2 would have been there on the sorry. Do you all want me to explain the step separately, or you all got it? Did you all get it? Just let me know. Did you all understand on the steps 2, 3 and 4? Does anyone of you all want me to show it separately, how it works? Anyone? Okay. So I'll continue then. So basically I've combined, so for your exams you can do something similar, okay? You can combine like this instead of showing separate diagrams for each step. So it's very time consuming if the expression is a long one. So now once you have done this, next you read your next input. So when you read your next input, you're going to read this, that is plus. When you read plus For that, the step that is applied is step 2C. So when you read step 2C, you will see that if token is an operator, which in this case it is an operator, plus is an operator, pop the top two tokens from the stack. So which tokens you are going to pop is, you are going to pop this, okay? Pop the two tokens from the stack, this and that, okay? Pop 2 and 6. When you pop these two tokens, 2 and 6, you are going to apply this operator plus, like this. So you are popping 2 and 6, okay? Apply the operator. So you are going to do this, 6 plus 2. You get the answer as 8. So whatever answer you get, the answer has to be pushed back to the stack. So you can see the ending line in that step 2C. Push the answer back into the stack. So this is the answer I got after I applied the operator. I push this answer back onto the stack. So that's how I get here 8. Okay. Okay. So I'll just repeat this step again. So when I read an operator, I have read one operator now. Okay. When I get an operator, what I do? I pop the two topmost values from my stack. So the two topmost values are 2 and 6. Once I pop them, I apply the operator. So the operator is plus. So I apply them like this. 6 plus 2. I get some answer 8. Whatever answer I've got, that I push onto the stack. When I push onto the stack, I get something like this. Okay. 8 is on top of the stack. Any questions here? So after you do that, you go back to step 2. Okay. Continue scanning your expression. So next you're going to scan this, multiply. Okay. Then you again get an operator. Again you will apply step 2C. When you apply step 2C, pop the two topmost. So now the two topmost are this, 8 and 5. So apply that operator, 8 into 5, you get the answer as 40. Apply that operator to the two topmost values, you will get the answer as 40. Push that answer onto the stack. So when you push the answer onto the stack, it will look like this. Okay. Any questions? Next, you continue. So when you continue, after multiply, the next one that you're going to do is, you're going to read the next value, that is the next token, that is 2. When you read the next token, you see that this token is a number. So if it's a number, which step you perform? You perform step 2B. So you will push this number onto the stack. So you will push the number onto the stack. Only 40 was present. When you push 2, you will get like this. Okay. Next token that you read is 4. Again, 4 is a number. You will push that onto the stack. So when you push it, it will become like this. So I have combined here two steps, that is step 7 and 8, wherein I push 2 and I push 4. So when I combine those two steps, I get the stack looking something like this. Okay. Next, after I have done with 4, I read the next symbol. So next symbol that I read is plus. Now plus is an operator. So you are going to apply step 2C. So again you pop the two topmost values. Okay. Apply the operator. Operator you are applying is plus. 4 plus 2, you will get the answer as 6. And answer you will push back onto the stack. That is your step 2C. So once you get the answer, you push it onto the stack, go back to step 2. So once you go back to step 2, the only symbol that is remaining to be done now is this one, minus. So we read that. Again, this minus is an operator. So we pop the two topmost values. The two topmost values on the stack are 6 and 40. I pop them. So when I pop them, I will apply the symbol. So I will do 40 minus 6. I get the answer as 34, and I will push the answer onto the stack. So I will push the answer onto the stack. Okay. One thing that you need to note is, okay, please note one thing. When you pop the two topmost values, the lower value, okay, now for example here, I'm with respect to this I will talk. So the lower value that I'm referring to is 40. Okay, 40 should be kept on the left hand side of the operator. Okay, 40 should be kept on the left hand side of that operator. So what I mean by that, see here, this is the operator minus, so 40 is on the left of the operator. Okay, and the upper value 6 should be kept on the right side of the operator. So it becomes 40 minus 6. I get the answer is 34. Okay, why we are doing that is because in the program that we are going to study tomorrow, it has been done like that. Okay, so I have taught you this algorithm exactly according to the program that we are going to study tomorrow. Otherwise you will get a different answer than the one that we are getting. And it has been done like that throughout. If you see, whenever I applied the operation, I kept the lower value on the left side. Okay, see for example here, 2 and 6. The lower value was on the left side, the upper value was on the right side of the operator. Everywhere it has been done like that. Okay. In most cases it does not matter actually. In most cases it does not matter, except when it is division or subtraction. Okay, so by mistake if you put one operator on the other side also, it does not matter if it's a plus or a multiply, but if it's a division or a subtraction, then it makes a difference. You will get the different answer. So once you do that and you push that 34 onto the stack, you have reached the end of the input. Okay, so step 2 has to be repeated as long as there is input, but when the input has ended, stop with step 2. So when you stop with step 2, you have to go to the third step. So when you go to the third step says pop whatever is there in the stack as the answer. You're going to pop 34 as the answer, as the output. So that is the way you get the answer when you evaluate a postfix expression. So I just go through the slides slowly. You just let me know if anyone has any difficulty anywhere. Okay, I'll look at the chat also at the same time. If you are finding any doubt in any of the slides, just let me know. So in this first slide, if anyone has not understood anything, second slide. Next slide.
Sir,
Yes.
so Ritika, I had a doubt. So what if in the step in this stack, no? What if 40 was above and 6 was below?
Then you would have got the answer is minus
Minus
34.
50. Okay,
Minus
fine.
34, yes.
Thank you.
It's just the way that you are going to write the program. So basically, when we have written the program tomorrow, you will see that the lower value has been taken on the left side and the upper value has been taken on the right side. Okay, and it makes a
Okay.
difference only in subtraction and division. Otherwise, in addition and multiplication, it does not make a difference.
Okay. Thank you.
So, has everyone understood? Any doubts? Let me know. Okay. Now this thing to evaluate this expression using stacks, this question can come for around 8 marks for you. So you could be given an expression like this, a postfix expression. You could be told to show step by step how you get the answer. So basically this is what you will have to do, what we have just done. Okay. So you have to just do it step by step like this. It's pretty simple. There's nothing much to do. You have to just know the algorithm. The algorithm is also pretty simple. It's not very difficult. So you have to just remember that there is two main steps to it. That you are reading the expression from left to right, and as you start reading the expression from left to right, if it's a number, push it on the stack. If it's an operator, pop two values from the stack, perform the operation, push answer back on the stack, and keep repeating these two steps until you reach the end of the input. The moment you reach the end of the input, pop the answer from the stack and you get the output. So that is the how you get a answer from a postfix expression. So if you all don't have any doubt, then take one question. Okay. What if there was operator in place of 2? Here you mean to say, yeah, then you would perform the algorithm. If there's an operator, what you have to do? Pop the two topmost values and pop the two topmost values, perform the operation, push the answer back on the stack.
So the other two one.
Huh? Which other two? These two. Then means you have to check whether it's a valid postfix expression, Siddhant. If it is it has to be a valid postfix expression. Okay. If you say there's an operator here, then whether that expression would be valid or not, you have to check for that. If it's a valid
Okay.
postfix expression, then you get the answer. If you don't put a valid postfix expression, you won't get an answer.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So please note that this program is not going to check for valid postfix expression. It's just going to take up. You have to make sure that you enter a valid postfix expression. Then it will give you the correct answer of that. Otherwise, it can't decide that it's a wrong expression. Okay. So any other questions? Okay. You all try one problem on your own. So you can take down. Convert the following expression. Convert the following expression from infix to postfix, from infix to postfix, full stop. Also evaluate the postfix expression. Also evaluate the postfix expression using stacks. So this is the expression I want you all to try. So basically it's an infix expression. First you convert it to postfix. Once you get the postfix answer, you can type the postfix answer in the chat so that we can confirm that it's a correct postfix answer. And once it's confirmed that it's a correct postfix answer, you have to apply the algorithm and see what is that answer that you get for the postfix expression. Yes, dollar means exponent. So once you get the postfix expression answer, yes. Yeah, Ritika, please don't put parenthesis. Postfix does not have parenthesis. Okay. So your postfix and prefix will have no parenthesis. Yes. So that is the correct. What you are getting 26 plus $22 division. Okay. So start evaluating. Start evaluating. Use this. Yes, correct. This is that answer that you are supposed to get. So start evaluating this expression now. This is the second part of your question. Evaluate it using stacks, using that algorithm you just studied. Yes, the answer that you will be getting is 2. Is someone not getting it? Anyone not getting it? Okay, I'll just do it quickly for the sake of anyone who has not been able to get it. Okay, So first you read 2, so you push it onto the stack. Okay. Next you read 6, you push 6 onto the stack. Next you read is plus, so you pop these two values. Okay, so you will perform 2 plus 6, you'll get the answer as 8. You're going to push this 8 onto the stack. Okay, then you get next input is 2, push it onto the stack. Again it is 2, push it onto the stack. Next you read is dollar. So when you read dollar, pop the two topmost values. So you pop 2 and 2. So you will do $2. So it is nothing but exponents. So 2 raised to 2 is 4. Push 4 onto the stack. Okay. Last that you read is division. So when you get division, 8 divided by 4. You have already popped this. So when you do 8 divided by 4, you will get the answer as equal to 2. So 2 is the answer. Okay. So I've done it very quickly for you. For those of you, if anyone had not understood or made any mistake. So I hope you have understood. Anyone wants me to repeat this? Okay, is it okay for everyone? Okay, just want to make one announcement. Just recently I've come to know that from 30th, that is tomorrow, this Google Meet is going to, lectures are going to be only for, the recording cannot be done, and the meet we can be open only for 1 hour. So I'll be sharing the link exactly on time with you. Okay. So I expect all of you to join exactly at that moment the link is shared with you. And because then the moment you waste time in joining, then your lecture will get shortened because the session will end automatically. Okay. That is from 1st of October, that session may end automatically. So as soon as the link has been shared, quickly join, because I require all the time in the lecture to explain the concepts to you. Okay. So if you are joining late, you will be missing some part of the lecture. Also, I will try to use some other software to record your lectures, because Google Meet will not henceforth allow from 1st of October. So I will use some other software to record your lectures. So maybe sometimes you may have some poor connectivity or something, so you can make use of the recording. Okay, so that was with regards to that. Also, I hope you have been started working on your lab manual. I told you the first experiment on Saturday. The next experiment I will be giving you again on this Saturday, that is 3rd of October. So almost every 1 or 2 weeks you'll be getting a new experiments, and we have to do 8 experiments in total, minimum of 8. Okay. Then I'd given you one homework question sometime back. Today I'm going to give you some more homework questions. Okay. So I'll just share the homework questions with you. Now for homework question, you have to maintain your homework questions as a Word document. Okay. And I'll be sharing one link with you. Maybe I could share one link before your IT just to check how much you have done before your IT. Keep maintaining your Word file. Each one of you should save your Word document. Save it with your roll number like this. Whatever is your roll number, underscore your name. Okay. So I don't know, whatever, like this, something like this should be the way you're giving your file name. Roll number underscore your name. So this was the question 1, which was already given to you. Okay. So I hope you have managed to do it. Write a function to find the sum of data of odd number nodes in a singly linked list. In exams also you may get something like this, SLL. So that stands for singly linked list. Okay. So don't get confused. Second program that I want you to try is, okay, write a program to concatenate two singly linked lists. You can just try this. Okay. So basically what I want you to do is I'll explain what I expect you to do in that. So you're going to have two singly linked lists with you. Suppose you're having one list like this. Okay, say the first list is pointed to by A. You're going to have another singly linked list. Say this second list is pointed by B. So your question says write a C program to concatenate, okay, concatenate two singly linked lists. So by concatenate, what I mean is you are having now in this example you are having three nodes here in singly list A, and you are having another three nodes in singly list B. So by concatenate, you're going to merge both these lists. So you're going to have the list A nodes, okay, the three nodes of list A. This is A. So the data is like this, followed by the list of B. You're going to combine both these lists so that in the end you're going to have one singly linked list that is merged, that is combined from the two singly linked lists. So this is the output that you are going to get, a merged singly linked list like this. So this is the input that you are going to take. This is your input. You're going to have two singly linked lists. Okay, going to take this as input, and once you have taken this as input, you're going to get this as the output. Did you understand the question? Any doubts in this question? Anyone having any doubt about how it is to be done? I'll explain you how it is to be done. I'll tell you, but this is what is the expected output, input and output. Did you get this part? Giovanna, you have to write the entire program. Okay, you have to write the entire program. So, did you all get this question? Okay. If you got this question, then I'll tell you what is to be, how it is to be done. Okay. So basically, now when we learned the singly linked list program a week back, okay, I showed you all the different operations that were possible on a singly linked list, like append, add at the beginning, create a node, add in the middle, delete in the beginning, delete at the end, delete in the middle. Okay. So those operations were taught to you in that fashion because that is what you have to know for the basics. Now you have to use all those operations to write applications of programs. So for example, now this question 2, question 1 are all applications of what you have already learned. Okay. So now when you are writing these programs, for example, like question 2, when you're writing this program, okay, that means like I showed you already, you must have two linked lists present with you. Okay. When you have two linked lists with you, then only you can concatenate them and get the output. So when you have to take the input, you can use only some functions from your, operations that I have taught you. So for example, you could take the operation create and you could take the operation add at the beginning. Okay, and you could create the first node using the create function, and then keep calling add at the beginning function, and you can create one linked list called A. Similarly, then you could call make another linked list called B. Okay, so you have to learn how to use those various operations to perform like this type programs. So I will just show you one program, okay, where I'm creating two singly linked lists. Okay, I'm not doing this program, not this question 2. I'm just doing the first part of your program of this question 2, where you need the input. You need the input of two singly linked lists. Okay, so the program looks like this. I'm not going to explain each and every line to you. Okay, this is a display function. This display function is the same thing that I have already explained to you in your singly linked list. Structure of the node also is the same. Okay, again we are having some variables here that we have declared. So A, B, previous, P, so all these variables and all are similar to what has been already been explained. The main part of your program is here. Okay, I'll zoom in so that you can see the code. The main part of the program is here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make A point to my first singly linked list. Okay, this variable A, and B is going to be pointing to my second singly linked list. Okay, so I'll explain you how this first portion works from here to here. Similar ways for B. Okay, it will be easy for you to understand later, but right now I'll just show you this part, how it works. So basically what I'm doing, because I want to concatenate two singly linked lists, before I merge these two singly linked lists, I need to have two singly linked lists with me as input. So I'm creating those two singly linked lists with me here. Okay, using this code. So I just explain it to you quickly how to do it. So what I'm basically doing, I taught you all the 6 operations of singly linked list. I'm just making use of those concepts that I've taught you there, and I'm making this now here. Okay, it's not done exactly in those fashion that it was explained there. There you can think of that is like the ideal code. Okay, so I'm just making use of those concepts, and I'm making this linked list here now. So already I think it's time up for the lecture, so I'll just do it quickly so that you understand. If you have any doubt, you can always stop me. Okay, so basically here what I'm doing, I don't have any singly linked list with me, so I make A equal to null. Okay, before that I ask how many elements I want in A using this line here. So suppose I say I want 2 elements, so I store it in this variable n. Okay, then I make use of this for loop. To create my linked list. So I start with this I is equal to 0. 0 is less than 2. Okay, I is less than n. N is 2. 0 less than 2. I think you can understand this part, right? Is loops. So 0 is less than 2. The next line, I create my node pointed by P. So I create one node like this pointed by P. Then I enter data. Now look here, this is the advanced way of taking data. When you were learning the program, I was taking the data in some variable, int variable data, and then I was putting it into this. So I was doing something like this. Here I would have had some variable, say item. Then I would have said p arrow data equal to item. Okay, instead of doing like this, okay, what I'm doing, I'm not doing this. I'm directly putting where I want to store the data. I want to store the data in p arrow data. Sorry, it's come in caps. P arrow data. I want to store the value here. I directly put that. I want the value there, so I directly put there as p arrow data. So whatever I enter value will get stored here directly, p arrow data. Okay, Understood? So this is just an advanced way of doing the things, skipping some variables and skipping some lines of code. And I would prefer you would learn to do programming like this. But if you find that other method better, you can declare one more variable here, item, take the input in the item and then store that item in p arrow data like we used to do in that program. You can do like that also. Okay. Suppose that value I enter here is say 1. Next line, I make p arrow next equal to null. Because this is the first node, it is also the last node. I check here. If A is null, yes, A is null because I made it null here. If A is null, then I give the value of P to A. So when I give that, that means I get here A. Okay. If part is executed, then else part is not executed. Now again, here there is one more advanced part of programming. When you do else here, how many lines of code are included in else? Can you just type quickly in chat? I have highlighted here. I've highlighted some lines here. Okay. So can you tell me how many lines of code are included in else? Yes, all those students were saying 1 is correct. Okay. So remember, when you don't put braces, only one line, it is same like this. Okay, it is same like this. When you don't put braces, it is same like this. Only one line of code is included. So it is same like this. Again, to save lines and save programming by this, I put it like this. So if else was true, then only this line would be executed. This line that is present here is not included in if else. Okay. This line is independent of if else. It is not included in if else. So if is true, then this line is executed. Otherwise, if else, then only this line is executed. Okay. And depending on one of these two lines, then this line is surely executed. Whether if or else, this one will be surely executed. So according to this line, P's address is given to one variable prev. So this will be also prev. Okay. So I'll just rub this remaining things that we don't need. So I increment the value of I. So initially I value was 0. Now I value will become 1. 1 is less than 2 because I told you to n is 2. Okay. So since 1 is less than 2, again you create one new node. So now P will be created like this. P is no longer here. Okay. Again you will enter some data from the next line. You will get 2 here. This is your last node now, so this will be null. Okay, from this line, check here, is A null? No, A is not null because there is some address here. Okay, it's not null, so you go to the else part, execute this. So previous arrow next, this part here will get the address of P, whatever is the address of P. Suppose the address of P is 100, this 100 will go here, so this 100 will come here. That means this arrow will get formed. Okay, then what you will do, execute this line. So that means previous will get shifted from here and previous will come here. Okay, again in increment I will become 2. Is 2 less than 2? No. So you stop with this. Okay, you stop with this. So you wanted to create how many elements in A? You wanted to 2 elements in A. So you got 2 elements in A. Okay, this is your A pointing to the first node. So once you have got that, I'll just rub this so that you can see. You get that. Then I just call the display function. I call the display function to print the values in the linked list. So the display function is here. is exactly the way it has been taught to you when we were studying the linked list. Okay. So here what I'm doing, only difference that you may find from that program is here I'm having inside one parameter. So what I'm doing is basically from my main function, if you look at my main function here, I'm passing this value of A. Okay. A is the pointer to the first node. So I'm passing this address of the first node A here. So this A goes to temp. It goes to temp. So that means I get here temp. Okay. And then the rest of the thing works like how we have already studied. I've explained you this part. Okay. The only difference is here in the parameter. So here I'm passing the address of the first node. Why I'm doing that? Because I've written the same function for B. Like I told you, this program is going to create two linked lists. So like you can see here, I created the first linked list pointed by A. I use that same code to create another linked list with B. Okay. So again, I made another pointer B equal to null, and the same code is repeated. Instead of A, here I'm having B everywhere. You can see. If you wanted another linked list, you could have made C. Another fourth one you wanted, you could have called D, and so on. Okay. And this is not the most efficient way of doing things, but it is. I have just written this in a little longer way so that you understand how it is to be done, and everyone understands. Okay. Some of you among you must be very good programmers. You can think of better ways of doing this. Okay. But this will get it done for you. So if you run this program, basically it will ask me how many elements I need in A. So suppose I say 4, and I will enter whatever elements I need in A, and it will display me the elements which I have just made in A, and it will ask me how many I want in B. So I will say 6, say, and I will enter whatever I need in B, and it will display me whatever is there in B. Now your task is not only till here. This is only the first part of the program where you're creating a two single linked lists. Once you have created the two single linked lists, your part is to merge them, to concatenate them. Okay. So that is your second question. The third question is, I think I'll just explain your third question tomorrow. Okay. Third and fourth questions. Fourth and fifth questions are pretty simple. You can do it. I'll post this Word file for you. Third question, I'll explain it tomorrow what I expect. Okay. You can try tonight the second question and do the fourth and fifth questions. So I'll stop for now. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can go through this video again. I'll share the link and ask me in the morning tomorrow. Okay. So see you all. Take care.